Mom's voice dripped with smugness as I walked through the front door. Thanks to your car, our daughter is having the time of her life. She didn't even try to hide it. My sister's time of her life, Paris, five-star hotels, champagne, paid for with the sale of my dream sports car. I set my suitcase down. My smile was quiet, deliberate. Mom's brows furrowed. "What's so funny?" I let her wait. She had no idea. The car wasn't just metal and paint. It was my first big win in life. A midnight black, limited edition Aston Martin DB11, rebuilt by my own hands over 2 years. I'd poured into it every overtime check, every weekend, every ounce of pride I had. When I left for Tokyo on business, I parked it in the garage, covered and locked. Dad waved me off with that, "We'll keep an eye on things." I didn't think twice. That was my mistake. The first crack in the facade came in an Instagram story. My sister, draped in designer clothes she'd never afford, sipping champagne on the balcony of a suite. I noticed the timestamps. I noticed the ring on her finger, a diamond tennis bracelet reflected in the glass, the one my parents swore they couldn't buy me for graduation because money's tight. Money was tight, but apparently not for her. The second sign, a gap in my garage when my neighbor sent me a photo asking if I'd finally sold the beauty. I didn't respond. I stared at the empty space where my car had been and felt my stomach turn cold. No calls, no warnings. They just did it. Grief would have been easy. Anger would have been natural. Instead, I sat in my Tokyo hotel room with my laptop, credit card statements, and a pen. I started listing every asset in my name, every shared account, every family debt tied to me as guarantor. Revenge, I knew, works best when it wears the suit of legality. Step 1, I called my lawyer in Tokyo, a man who didn't ask why, only how soon. We transferred the ownership of my parents' house title from my name back to theirs, removing my financial liability. That meant every tax, every repair, every overdue payment now fell squarely in their laps. Step 2, I closed the joint account they'd been quietly siphoning from for emergencies. I withdrew every cent and funneled it into a private account they couldn't touch. Step 3, the car. They thought they'd won when they sold it for $140K. What they didn't know was that the car was under a specialty insurance policy, one that I had full control over. And that car? I'd taken out a secured loan against it months before. The moment it changed hands without my consent, the insurance company flagged it as an unauthorized sale of a collateralized asset, which, legally, was fraud. The buyer? They were notified. The car was repossessed within 48 hours. My parents didn't see a cent of that sale again. By the time I landed back home, the dominoes had already fallen. The house payment reminder was taped to their front door. Their credit cards, the ones I'd co-signed, declined at the grocery store. My sister's Paris trip? Cut short when her fun money froze mid-week. And now here we were. Mom leaned against the kitchen counter, folding her arms. "You're being awfully quiet." I took my time, pulling a bottle of water from the fridge. "Just thinking," I said, unscrewing the cap. She smirked. "About how your car's gone?" I met her gaze. "About how it's back in my name. About how the bank froze the funds from the sale. About how you now owe the insurance company for selling property that wasn't yours." The smirk cracked. "You what?" I stepped closer, my voice low and steady. "You turned my hard work into your daughter's vacation fund. I just turned your little scheme into a debt you can't run from." Her eyes darted toward Dad, who had just stepped into the doorway, pale and silent. "And one more thing," I added. "The next time you try to take something from me, remember how easy it was for me to take everything back." They didn't say a word. The next week, my sister's car, the one I'd helped her finance, was repossessed. She called me screaming. I hung up. 2 months later, the house was quietly listed for sale. People ask if I regret it, if maybe I should have just confronted them face to face before pulling the trigger. But betrayal is rarely an accident. They counted on me being too shocked, too family loyal to fight back. They forgot I learned strategy from them. I didn't scream, I didn't slam doors. I just turned the chessboard, made my move, and let them watch their king fall in silence. Back in the kitchen that day, Mom finally asked, almost whispering, "What's so funny?" I smiled. Not cruel, just certain. Because the car you sold was never really yours to sell. And now, neither is anything else you thought you had. Her face collapsed. I walked away. Some victories aren't loud. They're quiet enough to hear the other side break.